Him was an incredibly odd, yet unsettling character for its time, defying typical villain stereotypes and managing to evoke fear in many children as they grew up, even if they didn't fully understand why. The reason behind why he generated such an inexplicable aversion has remained an animation mystery, potentially placing this character ahead of its time. In the early 2000s, Cartoon Network was a powerhouse in children's television, and one of the contributing factors to its success was the Powerpuff Girls. Created by Professor Utonium, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup fought villains, presenting what seemed to be a conventional superhero series for kids, especially in terms of animation. However, it was anything but conventional. The show included scenes that might be questioned today for their appropriateness for children.
You can take off the whole week.
And introduced dark themes that were not typical for Cartoon Network. The most notable example was the character Hem, who emitted a different eerie aura from the first moment on screen, raising many questions for us at our young age. What made him particularly striking was his appearance, challenging the average child growing up in the 2000s to discern whether he was a male figure due to his dark appearance and sometimes deep voice, or a female figure due to his clothing and high-pitched voice. Regardless, the character exuded a strange malevolence, evident from the moment he appeared. His fierce appearance was in the episode titled Octi Evil, where he is introduced as so evil, so sinister, so horribly vile, that even the utterance of his name strikes fears into the hearts of men. In this episode, he contacts Bubbles through her stuffed animal, Octi. When Bubbles realizes what's happening, her beloved doll is completely possessed, grown to an enormous size and trying to destroy Townsville. Here, the sinister nature of him became apparent, but in the episode Speed Demon, he will transform into an even more disturbing form, a giant demon with a fully male voice that the girls couldn't harm. All of this provides clues as to why him was so strangely unsettling. First, him is a character that starkly contrasts with the childlike atmosphere of the series, and even with other villains within the Powerpuff Girls universe. His diabolical and mysterious nature is noticeable from his name Hem, alluding to an otherworldly figure that can't even be named. Additionally, little's known about him's motives for wanting to harm the Powerpuff Girls. Unlike other villains explicitly wanting to conquer Townsville, him's motivation seems to be pure pleasure of evil towards the girls. He often plays with weaknesses like fear and seems to have the goal of separating the Powerpuff Girls, primarily making them hate or fight each other using psychological methods that orchestrate events and psychological tortures, many of which almost succeed. Even after being discovered, he remains indifferent and without remorse for his actions. But perhaps the most important key to him is somewhat obvious: his appearance. Although nowadays it is easy to see characters like him in series, at the beginning of the 2000s, a character with a supposed male pronoun having a feminine appearance was revolutionary for a children's cartoon. His heels, lipstick, occasional high-pitched voice, lace dresses even when changing forms, these were not very common. In fact, from today's analysis, him was a queer representative, challenging the norms by which male characters were portrayed at that time. The analyst and lecturer Dr. M.W. Bykowski, writing about him, points out that part of what makes him so terrifying is his refusal to adhere to discernible limits of masculinity or femininity. Instead, he blurs those lines with a kind of threatening joy. For this reason, him could be one of the first symbol characters of the LGBTQ community that we are now very familiar with. The result is truly astonishing. A being of pure evil with no specific motivation for his actions, whose appearance was terrifyingly transgressive for the little kids who grew up at the beginning of the millennium. Without a doubt, him is one of the most unsettling villains in children's animation.